What is going on? I want to welcome you to the Pizza Palace, the Detroit sports podcast that's about everything and nothing at the exact same time. I am your host, Sean Murphy, and today I am joined by one of my favorite guys on the internet. I've been able to get to know him quite a bit over the past couple of months, but also he is the self-proclaimed wild child of Woodward Sports, Detroit's first and only all digital media network. He is also the host of the Speak Easy podcast, but you can also find him on his YouTube channel at Speak Easy. So my guy, Easy. Oh, it pulled up one of your podcasts. I'm joined by my guy, Easy. Easy, what's going on, man? How you doing?
That was the greatest, hands down, the greatest introduction I've ever had. You made me feel special, man.
Thanks, man.
I appreciate that, man. Honestly,
thanks,
from
man.
the heart. That was dope.
It was off the cuff, so it was all truth, man. So
yeah, absolutely. I don't believe you. It was too good to be off the cuff, but I'll take it.
I could share my screen. I swear that was off the cuff, but anywho, that doesn't matter because this is the Pizza Palace. No, totally good, man. But Easy, for those who don't know, do you want to talk a little bit more about, I kind of gave the brief introduction about Woodward Sports, but you want to kind of tell people who might not know about it, what you guys do and what you're all about?
Pretty much is, if you're a Detroit sports fan, I guess Woodward Sports is like something you really want to get comfortable and used to. We're going to be here for a while. Most of the content nowadays are consumed digitally. You're always available to sit in front of your TVs. We're on our phones too much to even do that, I feel like. And I mean, you find us with the touch of your hand, with the computer in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? It's all digital sports network, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All our content's everywhere. But the main three shows we're trying to push is the Morning Woodward Show, Big D Energy, and the Bottom Line. We work with Darren McCarty. You know what I'm saying? He's a Detroit legend, 4-time Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah.
Like, that's just nuts. Braylon Edwards, a Michigan legend. Ryan Armani, if you guys watch Fox 2 Detroit, if you're familiar with the Detroit market, obviously you probably should know who Brian Armani is. And before then, he did sports talk too. He was on 105.1 when they were a sports station. So
even old
Tom Masway,
Joik Bell. Yeah,
Detroit Lions running back Joik Bell. Yep, man, it's trust me, they're working on adding some talent aside from that as well. And of course, that's awesome, they got your boy Big Easy in that mofo too.
Yeah, they do, baby. That's what we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, well, dude, yeah, absolutely. I actually discovered Woodward Sports around the draft time. With specifically, you guys had Dwayne Casey on the show, which first of all, that's an awesome get. Like, you know what I mean? So whoever got Dwayne Casey to come down in studio, like, absolutely.
One of the founders, Joey Namath. He's close with Dwayne Casey in his camp, and he made that happen. And Joey's a great guy, so I wanted to make sure to get his name out because he honestly is a great dude.
Yeah, shout out to Joey. He's awesome. I love everyone at Woodward Sports, and you guys do have a presence all over, but also, a lot of this podcast specifically is about Detroit sports. So that's why I want to give, before we start, I just want to give you guys some love because absolutely, what you guys are doing over there is definitely, I think, so essential is not just because everyone thinks it just has to be all about the national markets. Everyone has to talk about LeBron or whatever, but the reality is having that, having people that can pioneer that local, that local sports coverage content wise, because that's, I feel like there's no one that does it well, and you guys are doing it really well, and it looks professional. It's legitimate. You guys have a great studio, and just sounds like things are booming over there. So absolutely love what you guys are doing. So seriously, those shows are live on their app, WSN Live, I believe it's called.
Yep.
It's also on Facebook, but it's also on YouTube. It's everywhere you want to look for it.
Yes,
absolutely.
And that's the thing too, is we have sports talk stations, right? But if you miss your favorite show, you missed your favorite show. You know what I'm saying? Like majority of the time, they may post a clip every once in a while, after the fact, but with us being digital, you always have access to it. Yeah, always, 100%. Even old episodes. Say something happened or an interview that you missed, it's all there.
And TikTok content too. You guys have a good TikTok as well.
Appreciate that. Yeah, shouts out to Mags. Yeah, Swaggy Maggie. She's in charge of that one.
Yeah, well, they let you do weird shit on there. Easy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you, man. Oh man, but that's awesome, man. So tell me a little bit kind of about your journey there, but just kind of want to get to know you real quick before we dive a little bit into sports. Like, what was your journey there like? And, like, what's your upbringing been like with Detroit sports? I guess, that's a big question, but I'm going to
Yeah.
ask it
No, you're
anyway.
good. You're good. It has been a journey. It's just it probably feels like more of a journey than it was, just because like it's just one of those scenarios. And I don't know if you were in the spaces last night with Nick Hinkle, but him and I were kind of speaking. I'm like, I just it never like feeling real yet. You know what I'm saying, and
Yeah.
I think I
Yep.
spoke to you too. Like just keep going, because you just you never know where your drive will take you, and that's really it too. Like
Yeah.
I'm even thinking back to Nipsey Hussle, R.I.P. And I ran across like how social media is with the reels and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and he was like something like, I never kept any type of special poise, more so than anybody else. I was never like truly more talented than like everybody out here.
Mm-hmm.
I just never quit, and honestly, throughout like all the celebrity interviews or podcasts I've been able to do and speak to people who walked that side of life, what we consider like success, or like they made it in NFL, NBA, UFC. That's been the one common denominator, man, and that's like, I guess, the biggest part of the journey I want to stress, and it's probably why I started with it, because like it feels good when you pour your time into something like that and you do reap the benefits and reap the rewards of it.
Yeah.
But essentially, I guess sports, like my fandom of it started with my uncle. I'd probably say he was always
Mm-hmm.
kind of like trying to I guess force me down that path a little bit, because
Mm-hmm.
he's a big sports guy. But I also grew up with no cable, so
Oh,
you know
wow, man.
yeah, so like back in the day, that's fucking crazy. I'm old enough to say that, but when we had antenna, and then I'm not even lying too. When we had
Uh-huh.
antenna, Channel 2 used to have obviously the NFL games, Fox, and I believe it's between them or WB50, then it was CW50. I don't know what it is now, but
Mm-hmm.
they had all the Pistons games and the Red Wing games and stuff like that too. So
Yeah.
that was like what I had to watch, and then I also had random like this random garage sale book. It was like, maybe I still have it, maybe I don't. I don't remember what the hell it was called, but it had like just random facts about all
Mm-hmm.
kinds of athletes. It was from grad stuff, so it was like the older athletes. So it was more like Michael Irvin and then those guys and stuff like that. But like, I just read it, and I'd read up on stats and like stories about
Right.
those guys, and like, I don't know, man. Like sports truly is like almost like a modern day gladiators, and that definition could be truer based on what sport you're looking at. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just awesome, and then you also the fact draft nights like this too. It's like a real life like Cinderella story. You see these kids go from rags to riches. It's beautiful to see. You see
Yeah.
these guys, and the parents are crying. It was kind of like what I said earlier. I'm saying you reach a point where all your work that you poured in is like you're rewarded for it, and just I don't
Yeah.
know, man, it's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Sports a beautiful thing.
Well, hey, man, there's few people that I could be happier for than you, man, for being in the place that you're in and to get to call that a reality. You know what I mean? And, it's just, it's inspiring to someone like me who, is someone that, I am in that beginning stage, but, to your point, it's like, no matter what you do, it really does show that, hard work does pay off, and, that can be noticed no matter, but also
Yeah.
like, reach out to people, meet people, and make connections too. That's also
And you've been
important.
doing that, man, because like
Yeah.
we don't know each other from like outside of the internet or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
you just shot a DM and you're like, yo, like
Yeah. I just was like, hey,
let's
I'd
link
love to
up.
know more about Woodward Sports because, obviously, I'm just super interested, and, it's a place like that is like a dream place of mine. And, I'm just glad to be a fan, but also just to get to know some of you guys too. It's been really fun. You guys have an awesome coverage of the Lions as well. That kind of segues into it seems like the Lions is kind of like, it seems like if there's any bread and butter that you have, it's MMA and it's Detroit Lions football, from what I get. Is
Oh
that is
yeah,
that a fair thing to say?
definitely fair assessment. Yes,
All right,
that's
perfect.
yeah,
I feel like I
on the
nailed
money.
that. I know you're a Pistons fan too. And we were
Yes,
talking Pistons quite a bit the other night. We'll be talking Pistons on here as well. But
game.
what one thing that you said recently that I think was like a really powerful statement was, I trust this front office, and I trust this coaching staff. Like, I trust like what they're doing in Detroit, like, or that you were going to
Mhm.
trust what they're going to do.
Yeah,
And I personally am feeling the same. Ever since the beginning, I've just been watching the behind the scenes clips, anything that they would give us, right? Because watching how
we're
the
fans.
last look, yeah, we're fans, we want to know, but also it was such an issue with how the last front office ran that, like, it made me hyper worried about this one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And so
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
and so seeing their chemistry, seeing how fired up they are about football, but even like I remember watching like the Dan Campbell clips of him explaining to the owner, like, hey, like, this is what we're doing. We want this pass rusher because this guy is disgusting. He'll eat some kneecaps, you know what I'm saying? And so my question to you is like, you know, what got you there this season, and also like what have you seen that's made you excited going forward for the Lions?
That's a great question, man. And I honestly too like appreciate you for having me on this podcast. It's freaking insane.
Yeah, absolutely,
But
man.
what got me there in terms of like trusting and believing in the
Mm-hmm.
coaching staff and Brett Holmes, in which it is the first year, it could be a 50-50 split, or maybe it's one or the other. We don't know yet. I
Right.
think it's 50-50 as of now, but the emergence of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Because
Mm-hmm.
before then, I mean, we definitely had some guys. Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I'd also have to say Jerry Jacobs, and just realizing like it's tough to like because I'm truly just trying to figure out like I'm trying to break it down to like who's doing what. I guess like who can we credit the success for? But honestly, I guess I do just have to split 50-50 because
Yeah.
there's been so many examples throughout this season where guys have gone down to secondary, which hasn't like historically been a good secondary for us ever since the departure of Quandre Diggs and Darius
Yeah.
Slay.
I
And
mean, we had to pull up guys from the practice squad, right? I mean, it's been it
exactly,
has been
we
work by committee, whoever we have available.
and it's working though too. And that's the
Yeah.
thing is like what? And then the thing too is like with that, like we're a bad football team. Like, don't get me
Yep.
wrong, we have not won many games, but for them to motivate these kids or have them believe enough in the system for them to actually execute it and it to show on field,
Yeah.
it's tremendous from the coaching staff. And then
Mm-hmm.
in Brad Holmes' hands and his side of the court, the fact that have picked these guys. You know what I'm saying? That have gone grocery shopping and found yourself a Jerry Jacobs. That
Yeah.
found you an Amara St. Brown in the fourth round.
Yeah.
Like, and the one thing I'm kind of questioning to it, and like I guess I can't too much because it is a rookie year, so I don't want to judge none of these guys too harshly. I'm not a big fan of doing that. I mean, even
Mm-hmm.
with the Jeff Okuda stuff, people love slandering and bashing that kid, but he's a second year kid who's rarely seen the field yet. In his first year,
Yeah.
he had terrible coaching staff and was like gave the number one assignment every single week. Like we still don't know what this kid can be yet. We really don't. And
Yeah.
like, but Brad Holmes though to find like the success he has and like the rounds he has, Lee McNeil, Anzarike. I mean, there's still kind of question marks, but again, it's their first year. Penei Sewell, that wasn't the sexy pick to make. You could have
No.
easily grabbed you like one of the Micah Parsons. Obviously, he's killing it too. But you could have grabbed Micah Parsons. You could have grabbed anything you want. But he truly believed in the philosophy, and that's something that's new here too because we had
Yeah.
Martin Mayhew who hit on a couple. Martin Mayhew hit on a couple, but like
Mm-hmm.
every year it seemed like we were just going for the sexy offensive weapon and it never panned out for us. Eric Ebron,
Yeah.
Ryan Bro, like there's just so many guys. Titus Young, like I, I don't know, man. I like what we've seen out of this first year. And again,
Yeah.
we're not winning games, but we didn't. If you expected to win games this year, just do me a favor and lay off the booze a little
Yeah,
bit. You know what I'm
100%.
saying?
100%. Thank you. Because
Yeah.
there is a curse with the Lions where it is like clockwork, dude. Come draft time, people think we're going to be a playoff team like after we draft in the third round because you get excited about what you're seeing and it's like, oh, could the Lions actually turn it around this year? No. Like, listen, this is a long process, um not to dwell into like the Dan Campbell, I mean the Matt Patricia Quinn era too much because obviously
Ugh.
that just not worth delving into. But I do have a story I want to share because I've only been to one Lions game in my life, easy. And it was Monday Night Football, Detroit Lions, New York Jets, Matt Patricia's first
Oh,
night as the
Sam
coach
Darnold.
of the Lions. Eminem was there. He came out on the field for the coin toss. And then Sam Darnold threw that pick six. That absolutely awesome pick six was the most hype sports moment in my life. And then the rest of the game happened. And there were 2,000 Jets fans by the end of the game that were there, and then it was like 100 Lions fans. That place got empty after the third quarter, and I never questioned something harder in my life than us hiring Matt Patricia because he just looked defeated. He wasn't even trying to coach and go after these guys or have any kind of passion. And like Dan Campbell is just the antithesis of that. He is just a football guy. He is a player's guy. and he's getting them to buy into to that point. And, I think that's just the thing that I think we could be inspired with is, listen, people can make jokes all they want about Dan Campbell, but to your point, these guys are fighting each and every week. And on top of that, they're improving. Like the offensive firepower that we've seen, to your point, whatever it is that they saw in the practice field, whatever it is that they saw in the film room that wasn't working, they were able to make an adjustment. And suddenly this team is infinitely like not infinitely better, but significantly better than we were. And so, when you're rebuilding, what you want to see in a rebuilding season, if you're going in with the proper expectations, is you want to see signs of life. And this rebuild, as of right now, most certainly has signs of life. So, and we have a second overall pick more than likely to look forward to. Easy, if you were in the draft room, who are you advocating for? Who are you voting for? Are you an Aiden Hutchinson guy? Where are you leaning?
This is a hill I think I'm willing to die on. I'm fully prepared for the backlash that's going to come with it. However, I am a bit surprised with the amount of support I've gotten and am seeing on Lions Twitter and elsewhere. But I don't know that I pull the trigger on this one at 2. I maybe make a move back to see if I grab this guy. But I have faith in Kyle Hamilton more than any other guy out of that handful right now. I know this is that kid from LSU, the cornerback Stingley, I believe. Is he from LSU? Am I getting the school right?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Yeah. The thing with Kyle Hamilton, man, is if you put on the tape and you watch this kid on YouTube, any terms of play you can find of him, like he just has it, man. And to top it off, he's 6'4", 220 pounds. Like the instinct is what I love about him, man. And
just an elite
he's not
safety.
He's not just a box safety. He could drop back into coverage, and he's a playmaker too. Like there's this game he had against Florida State, 2 interceptions that I know of. I actually didn't finish watching the entire game, but 1 interception, obviously, cool. That's sweet. The second interception, this kid read the coverage, read what was going on with the play, runs from the other side of the field, I think beyond the other hash mark, and makes an interception just before the sideline. Both feet in, by the way. Yeah, you got I hope you see it. If you're editing this, find it. I'll send it to you. Put it in on this part because,
absolutely, man. Yeah, for sure, I can make that happen. I think the thing, obviously, a lot of great defenses. To your point, I think people obviously you want an elite edge rusher. So, if we do that, that's not the worst thing on the face of the planet. But yet again, you also really want elite ball hawkers in the background. I mean, the Ravens defense wouldn't have been as great as it was. Obviously Ray Lewis, but then you go ball hawk Ed Reed. You know what I mean? Like that. To your point, having a guy like that
Legion of Boom.
Yeah, exactly.
Troy Polamalu.
Exactly. Like a lot of the great defenses, it makes your pass rush better to have guys like that in the background because they're
Antoine Winfield last year with the Bucks. Like you just go on and on, man.
Yeah, it gives your pass rushers more time to get to the quarterback. And on top of that, it makes the quarterback, panic and make bad decisions. So, I definitely would be all about
Tyrann Mathieu the year before that in KC.
Yeah.
Like I could, and the thing too is with him is like Kyle Hamilton to me, and I apologize to cut you off. I just really want to exercise this because I know the Michigan fans are part of this too, but like,
listen, I'm a Michigan fan, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm sold as Aiden Hutchinson being the number 2 pick of the draft. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm like.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like with him and Thibodeau, like I see question marks. I'm not completely sold on these guys. I'm really not.
Yeah, because
piece that I am sold on is Hamilton.
Yeah. Now listen, they're great pass rushers. It's just a matter of can these pass rushers be that guy in the NFL? Because it is a different level. It is an absolutely different level. The offensive lineman in the NFL, obviously the Big Ten has some pretty great offensive linemen. They destroyed the Iowa offensive line, which is generally like an NFL powerhouse when it comes to offensive linemen. But are they going to do the same thing in the NFL? We don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times these coveted pass rushers aren't the same guy. And so Hutchinson has a great game. I think he could be an effective NFL player. Is he going to be the leader in sacks in the NFL in a year? I don't see it.
Yeah, and I work with Brandon Edwards. Like he's literally a Michigan legend, the all-time leader and like I think every receiving category except for maybe one now.
Yeah.
But either way, he'll look at you and he'll tell you, Aiden's not the athlete that you see out of Joey Bosa. Like it's easy to look at him and think Bosa brothers like most commonly because they're both white. You know what I'm saying? Like that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like let's like if we're keeping it a buck, like Aiden's a different like guy skill wise.
Yep.
And two, to throw another question mark in there is like when you have another first round talent in there, David Ojabo on the opposite side of that line. Like you're gonna both guys are gonna benefit from that and look a lot better because of it. And then with Thibodeau, for me, where is he? He's in the Pac-12 or AC? Yeah, the Pac-12. Whatever. Like that's traditionally a pass happy conference, right? Yeah. He should have more sacks than he has if he's the talent that he's supposed to be.
100%.
That edge rush, especially. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like if the Pistons had the perfect year to have the number 1 pick, it feels like the Lions kind of have the worst year to have a top draft pick in the sense that this is not a sexy draft class. Like, let's just cut it's going to be a lot of defensive guys from what I can tell, or not really. There's not like how the last couple of years, how it's been so quarterback heavy and it's like, oh, all these elite quarterbacks are coming in. It feels like this is the year where there's really not a quarterback that anyone's looking at in any light like that.
And that's the other part too, is like, it's not because these guys, I mean, these guys are great talents. Like, don't get me wrong.
100%.
But it's not because like they're elite talents that they're like this high. There's there's not a good draft. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it's going to be a defense heavy because there's not that many guys. Like,
it's like these are not going to be guys that are going to change the course of the franchise. These are going to be guys that are going to be solid contributors that could potentially lead to some more wins next season, but they're going to be solid starters and maybe that's it. And that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. And that is okay. And that's the thing too with Cal. And I'm sorry, dude, I keep bashing it up, and I did take an energy drink before I got on here.
Oh, dude, this podcast is literally just being it can go anywhere. So you are good.
Okay, cool.
This is what it's normally like, if not crazier. So you're good.
All right, cool. So people like want to tell you like edge rush. You gotta take an edge rush there, the positional value. But like, bro, we're in fucking Detroit. All right, how many position values have we taken high in the draft and they haven't panned out, or doesn't mean shit? Like Joey Harrington, a quarterback at 3, positional value. Yeah, you want the quarterback 3, right? Like, fucking Ed Reed was in that same draft class. You know what I'm saying? Like watching, like it's I don't know, man. Take the guy as a sure thing, and for me, the sure thing's Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, 100%. And and listen, whatever they do, I'm ultimately going to respect, because at the end of the day, we have needs everywhere on the field. Like at this point, it's like you just draft who you believe is the best overall player, because the Lions have positional need at every single spot. Obviously I think as far as the quarterback situation, I don't think we're going to see that addressed this offseason. I feel like Jared Goff has, at least at this point, earned another season just for his improved play over the course of the past few weeks. However, obviously I don't think anyone thinks he's the quarterback of the future. What have been your thoughts about Jared Goff as a player, as a quarterback? Like, obviously, it's tough, dude. It's tough. Like we had the Lamborghini that was just beautiful. It always came to show up on race day. And now we got the Toyota Camry of quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, you're not wrong there. Matthew Stafford definitely is a good quarterback. One of the better ones for sure. I think, us as a franchise, we're better off in the situation we are now because.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, it takes team efforts to win. Jared Goff, like you said, that thing isn't going to be addressed until next year. Now, did he come on to the second half? And like, that's where you have some question marks, right? But there's a bigger sample size of him being that Toyota Camry than we have the sample size of him being like, I guess, whatever the next upgrade from that is. I'm not a car guy. You can't tell, but.
Neither am I. I just, that was the way I could figure out.
It worked. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
He's here, man.
He's here.
Hopefully we see some better play. And look, here's the thing too, is like, I hate paying how much we're paying him. That fucking sucks the most. But here's the thing, is like, we have so much draft capital that, like, if he does work, it maybe can work because we have the draft picks to put around him. Where most situations, you have the guy in a rookie quarterback, you have the money to put, solid veterans around him, solid free agents around them. You know what I'm saying? But with Goff, unfortunately enough, we do have the draft capital to, if he does pan out. But if not, look, man, it is what it is.
Right.
Maybe we grab a guy late this year.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I mean, we're not expected to be good anyway. So like whoever's throwing the ball for us right now is almost entirely irrelevant. Now, I will say, Jared Goff, from a talent standpoint, as far as his intangibles, his throwing arm, things like that, like he's not a scrub by any means, right? I mean, he has, he just, I mean, listen, there's two types of quarterbacks in this league. There's the guys that can make your team better, and there's the guys who can't. And Jared Goff is not the guy that can make your team better. Sometimes you can go the analytics, you can look at his turnover rates, you can look at how he looks at the field, how he doesn't make his progressions. You can do all this analysis you want, but it comes down to two things in this league. Either you make your team better or you don't. And if you don't waste my time. And that's the thing with Jared Goff is, all right, let's see if you can do it, because it's always been about the coaching. It's always been about having Sean McVay as the play caller, having the elite offensive weapons that he's had. It's like, okay, you're in Detroit now. This is a different place. They expect you to perform. Like, fans demand better out of this team. And we had a pretty great guy at the helm that you're replacing. What can you do? And the answer so far has been not that damn much. However, I'm definitely interested to see what another year in the system does, what another draft class does, and what the potential change at offensive coordinator is, because I think it's fair to say Anthony Lynn will probably not be here next year, seeing that he hasn't called a play. He hasn't called a play in weeks now, and we're better. So that's not a great sign for him. But I mean, hey, it's the business,
Yeah, and you put it perfectly too. And shout out to my man Morgan Canyon at Pride of Detroit. He puts it as like there's quarterbacks you win because of, and there's quarterbacks you win in spite of. And unfortunately, Jared Goff is the in spite of category, and it's the turnovers that get me the most, man. The turnovers and his inability, it seems, to progress through his reads. And whether that is him, learning a new offense or not. Obviously he's come on a little bit towards later into the season, but the turnovers are still a factor. And he's just, the amount of money we're paying him, like you said, don't waste my time. Well, time is money. And we're paying this guy $30 million freaking dollars.
100%, man. 100%. But, unfortunately, like, listen, that is a product of the, that Rams offense. Listen, he could just do the play action pass because he only needed to make one read. And it was the read that Sean McVay designed to get him a wide open pass. And he can do that great.
And don't forget the Aaron freaking Donald he has on the side of the football. Like, dude, they're giving you great field position. If they're not giving you great field position, you're getting turnovers. And that's going to help inflate those numbers a little bit too.
Yeah. Now, he did have that game where he had that shootout with Patrick Mahomes where they put up like 50 points each.
The best football game I've ever watched in my life. Honestly, it's one of them.
That one has to be up there, dude. I haven't seen an NFL game since then that's been that good. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, listen, absolutely. I think you put it really well. And it's just one of those things where, listen, obviously they haven't given us many reasons to have too much hope because of, some rough years. However, I mean, listen, you just got to hope and you got to believe and you got to give people a chance to give it a try, because listen, the guys that are in charge right now really want to win. And I do believe that, the new owner, Sheila Ford Hemp, I do really believe that she wants to win, because I'm sure she's just as frustrated, if not more frustrated than any of us with how the franchise has been run. So I think, I think there's a lot of reason to be excited, and listen, let's just have some enthusiasm. Let's have some fun watching football,
And with her too, like Sheila Ford, like, yes, we can trash the Ford family's ownership of this football team. It has been absolute hot garbage. But here's the difference nowadays, I guess, in my opinion, is like, I don't know if you remember when Calvin came through to get his gold jacket or whatever kind of ceremony we had for him.
Yeah.
And when she hit that field, and it's like if they didn't give a fuck before, especially as a rich person, like I'm sure that her pride, and as a rich person, it's like fucking like, oh, I'm gonna show these fuckers. Like, no, I'm saying, like, and we did the right thing. I'm not bashing the people who booed her. Like, yeah, sure, you can call it distasteful, but if you want change, it's kind of like, we don't have to bring it down this path, but people,
that's the only
have fucking stand-ins and shit like that.
Express their frustration.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we could talk about her on Twitter all damn day. She's fucking damn sure probably is not on Twitter. I mean, maybe, who knows? But like, that's expressive. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I had a podcast with Darius Slay, and I asked him, hey, like now that you've been on a a team that's won a Super Bowl, what's the difference in ownership? You know what I'm saying? Like what is it? And he's just like, they care more. You know what I'm saying? They care more here. And I'm hoping that's the case with Sheila.
Yeah. I mean, listen, our last owner, I mean, Mrs. Ford, she was just she was just too old, and she just
She
had
didn't
too
know what the
much
hell's
going.
going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, man. She's just like, oh, well, this is just a treat. And
She
it's like, no,
Yeah,
this
she's
is a
probably pooping herself,
business.
dude. She's probably wearing diapers and shit. Like how is she
The-
gonna
yeah,
run? Yeah,
she's the Paul Pierce of NFL owners.
yeah, man. And you have to talk too of like, people talking about Sheila being a female owner and stuff like too. Like I really feel like that stuff. I mean, I would hope at least it would drive her to just be better than
Yeah.
you know the Fords before her.
Yeah, 100%. And, it's just it's just a cool opportunity to have to be a successful woman owner in the league, because let's be honest, not a whole lot of diversity in that list of owners in the NFL. So,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, so yeah, that's absolutely. Speaking of, one last thing football wise, I mean, who's looking good to you right now in the league as far as like, we're going to the final week. Super Bowl is coming up in the next month. You think a team like the Bengals can make a surprising Super Bowl run? Do you think Patrick Mahomes makes it back this year? What are you thinking so far with what you're seeing league wide?
That's a great question, man.
I don't really get to hear you talk a whole lot of league wide on Woodward. So
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta
it's
pick your
tough.
brain here.
It's tough because the AFC, man, is just all over the map. It's just like you got like some of the best teams losing to the worst teams more than often than not. And I'd say, and shouts out to Mike Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans, like the injuries that they've gone throughout the season. And then you look and they're number one seed. Like what? That's insane. Like if they get Derrick Henry back and he's truly, I mean, they're getting him back. But if he's like to par of what we expect out of Derrick Henry, like I mean, that's a tough team, man. If they're really coaching up on defense like that and he's running the football like we know he can, like that's a tough team to beat. But honestly, I'd probably have to say the Chiefs out of the AFC.
Yeah.
Just I know it's cliche, you know what I'm saying?
Hard to
but
pick against Patrick Mahomes.
Man, they could put it up whenever they want, it feels like. It really does. And obviously they fell short against the Bengals, in Cincinnati, but let's not cut Cincinnati's offense short. They had to keep up with them to do that.
Joe Burrow's had a phenomenal year. Jamar Chase, all those memes about him not being able to see the football. I think he's seeing it now. I think he's seeing it perfectly fine.
Yeah, and they took that shit out of context too. Like he was talking about, because Darius Slay spoke this to me. There's a stripe on the college football that helps you pinpoint it when it's coming down. It's easier to catch. In the NFL, that stripe isn't there, so it's an adjustment. It's a little adjustment.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. And then from the NFC.
The Packers are supposed to be the team, but they never close the deal. They fall short when it matters most. They don't perform up to their standard, and they get their crap kicked in every year in the NFC Championship game. It's like a rinse and repeat. So it's just hard to pick them. But I mean, at the same time, Aaron Rodgers, he might. I don't know if Dr. Joe Rogan is giving him plays on the field or what, but man, he's having another MVP caliber season because he's Aaron Rodgers. So
absolutely, man. And by the way, like Detroit Lions fan through and through, diehard. Aaron Rodgers is one of my favorite football players to watch play the game of football in my entire life.
Oh, he's
the shit that guy does, man.
He is the Michael Jordan of football in the sense that he just does things when you watch him play that you haven't seen before and might be the greatest you've ever seen do it.
And consistently too, like I love Russ too. Like Russ is up there too. I probably honestly my second favorite quarterback, but like Aaron does it consistently,
Yeah, like I remember watching a couple years ago. It was like Dak Prescott's rookie year. It was that throw he made down the sideline to get the Packers in field goal range. Like just such a tight window. He threw it on the run. I think there was someone in the backfield. Like it was just the most ridiculous circumstances. But the thing is you expect
Aaron too.
Yeah, and you expect him to make the throw is the crazy thing. It's like it's not surprising when it happens, but it's also it leaves you dumbfounded still because
you're more surprised when it doesn't happen with Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, if he has a Hail Mary against Detroit, I expect we're going to lose that. That's just how it works.
Facts, dude. Detroit's Detroit. Like we let people into the games they shouldn't be in all the time, but like with Aaron Rodgers, he's the perfect example of it happening to us countless times.
Yeah. The only quote from Stephen A. Smith I will endorse is, "He's a bad man."
Yes. Yep.
Speaking of bad men, I want to talk
Oh.
the city of the bad boys, the Detroit Pistons. Detroit basketball. Man, easy. This has been a rough season. My question for you, I mean, obviously we've had to watch. So at this point with COVID in the NBA, I mean, not going to talk COVID much, but I will say that we have had 24 different players don a Detroit Pistons jersey this season, which is now a franchise record. And we're only halfway through the year. What has been your bright spot? What's been the positive? And what controversial opinion do you have about what they need to do going forward? Do you have a hot take on what they got to change? Do you have a certain strong feeling about anything with them? Because I see a lot of people want to fire Dwayne Casey, and I fight those people. But anyway, go ahead.
Do you? Well,
if you're one of those people, that's okay. That's okay.
I'm headed towards that line. And listen, man, I've met Dwayne Casey. Like, I mean, he was in studio. We had the end of the morning show, and one of the sweetest guys. I'm sure he's very, very knowledgeable of basketball, but it's just some of the I'm trying not to cuss. I apologize. Some of the shit we see.
This is a pod.
There's no explanation for it, bro.
There's cursing on this pod. We do it. It's
all right.
good.
Shit, fuck, goddamn. Like, there's just no
fuck, goddamn. Hell yeah.
There's just no explanation for a lot of the shit that we see, man. Like, I think the first time that you and I jumped into spaces together, it was after the overtime loss to the Wizards. Was it maybe?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and then we had Cade Cunningham, who got absolutely hot in that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And bounding the fucking basketball. What?
Yeah. Now, I think it's one of those situations where obviously that was like and there are certain times where, listen, Dwayne Casey, admittedly, his weakness as a coach is some of that situational final game adjustments. I will acknowledge that, because he's known for making errors in the crunch, which is definitely a flaw. I don't think Dwayne Casey's the coach that's gonna get us to a finals, but I do think he's the perfect coach for where we're at right now because of his ability to develop players. He has one of the best resumes in the NBA when it comes to developing talent, from guys like Pascal Siakam, DeMar DeRozan, and Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, like a lot of guys in Toronto.
But does it stop there? I'm saying, like, is there more people than that?
Yeah.
Who else?
Christian Wood, Josh Jackson, they both had their careers revived in Detroit. Jeremy Grant has developed into that kind of scorer under his tenure right now. Killian Hayes has become a more confident offensive player. And even though his statistics aren't looking the best, we're at least seeing signs of development there. Frank Jackson, listen, he's been playing really well for us. Hamidou Diallo has grown and sprout. Like, listen, I was trying to make the argument that I think that Dwayne Casey's been good for Hami, and I think he's developing great in this system. I mean, listen, look at the month he had in December. You know what I mean? Like, that's getting true production out of your guys. I know
but like, is that, but also we had that franchise record, 24 people missing
for sure.
And we need that kind of production out of him, and he's going to see the floor because, we had freaking G Leaguers out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to get bulk of the shots. Yeah.
He was getting more touches, but to your point though, then a lot of those guys came back, and Hamidou was still one of the significant guys in the sense that he wasn't doing it by getting his shot. He was doing it by making his own plays. He was playing hard on the defensive end. He was really committing to that side of the court.
And we're 2 games back though,
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
And the one game was a 40-point blowout. But I'm with you though. You listen, on Jeremy Grant, that was a good sell. Christian Wood, that was a good sell. Fred VanVleet, now it depends on where you fall with him, but also a good sell. Like, that was convincing. I don't fucking know, man. And also at the same time too, I know we're tanking as an organization too. That's the other part.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
But but the tanking is like from the front office. I feel like I don't ever think the coach is actively tanking unless they're like,
Yeah.
hand in hand with the GM in it.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I don't
the
know.
coach is never the coach is never tanking. I think Dwayne is just a guy that's more willing to give minutes to guys in significant situations to see how they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if we don't agree with something, I think he's a guy, especially towards the beginning of this season. I mean, now remember how last season went, right? A lot of the talk was, why aren't these younger guys playing more? Well, it's because he started the year trusting his veterans. He trusted his guy in Blake. But then as the season went on around this time, Blake Griffin and the Pistons agreed to split ways. And then Sadiq Bey moves into the starting lineup. We see him excel as that season goes on, right? So, I mean, listen, like, guys are like, why isn't Saban Lee seeing the court? Why isn't Hamidou seeing the court? Well, now there's significant roles in what we're doing, and they're actually playing consistent minutes on this team. And if anything, I think you're seeing those veterans naturally stepping back. Now, I don't think Corey Joseph's going to get as many minutes when he comes back. He might. And if I'm wrong, then that's fine. But I would wager that Dwayne Casey would turn to these younger guys as the season's going on. And I think he has a plan and kind of knows what he's doing in that sense. So I think, obviously, even though, like, you can look at certain situations and obviously there's criticisms and things to make, but to me, it's about the bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? That's the argument I would make.
This, and I'll say this in his defense too, is like the NBA. I feel like almost more than, I'm running off the top of my head, maybe no, the NBA more than any other sport. I feel like talent is going to get you there.
Oh yeah,
more than any other sport.
Oh yeah,
you look at, it's why there's, you look at consistently LeBron's there in the finals. Consistently before, obviously the rest of the team went down. Steph was there, and even this year he's more than likely going to be there. Like you need the talent, and we have to be, as much as we love these players, we have to be brutally honest with them. And that's probably the hot take I have as a guy like Isaiah Stewart. But we don't have ultimately the talent, and like that part is true, and that is like a defense I do give them, but. There's just certain like things like the inbounding the ball, Cade Cunningham, the hottest guy on the floor inbounding the ball.
I agree.
Doesn't make sense to me. Last night we're getting absolutely destroyed. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Get the young guys some minutes, but there are also young guys that I fucking know aren't going to be here next year. You know what I'm saying? Like my man Harry Potter out there. I don't fucking know his first name, but like he is not going to be here next year. You know what I'm saying? He's not a part of the long-term future. Like
my man Harry Potter. I love it.
Ryan, I don't even remember his first name, but like it's just, and I also, to be fair, on last night's criticism, like I had fucking hella money in that game. And for Sadiq not to see the floor again in that fourth quarter, fucking burned me, son. But I've just seen enough bonehead plays that also told me like, oh, he's not the guy.
Micah Potter. Micah Potter.
There you go. And you looked it up too, so I feel better about not knowing it.
Hey, that's okay. Yeah, listen, he's a guy that they brought in on like a 10-day contract. I'm sure.
Yeah,
it was just like,
hey, we're getting some shit.
Yeah, we're getting blown out. Let's see what you can do. Let's, why not? And he was minus 28, but at the same time, and that is.
I think everybody's minus 28 though. In defense.
Oh no, he was the lowest on the team. Closest is minus 25, and that was Hami. But anyway, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, listen, I still think there's a lot to be hopeful with this team. I think we talked about the other night, there's a lot of promising talent that's going to be up at the top of this draft this year. And Detroit, and it is looking like Detroit has a small chance of being up towards the top of that draft. When I say that, I mean they have the best odds for the number one pick for the second year in a row, but that's fine. But I think people that I think we got too excited when we drafted Cade. I think there was an expectation. I don't know about you, but like there's almost this vibe that we could maybe reach the play-in. Even Cade said something on like ESPN that he wanted to make the playoffs his first year, and I think we all got pumped
on JJ Redick's podcast.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I don't know about you, but I watched the first summer league game and I said we're going to suck, and that's okay.
Yeah, it being okay part was hard to swallow, but no, I agree. Because and kudos, the Rockets have a fucking like brilliant young core. Like their GM, I think it's not Mario anymore.
No,
I don't know who the GM is anymore, but he's doing a fucking tremendous job, dude. The pieces they got, I noticed in that summer game, I was like, God damn.
Yeah, Raphael Stone.
Raphael Stone, he's killing it. Sengun,
fucking
Jalen
Green.
Man. Jalen Green, yes, but there's some other fucking guys. Who Josh Christopher.
Yeah.
We have another guy too, who's the son of an NBA player. I can't think of his name, but
Oh yeah. It's yeah, okay, I gotta look that up. But yeah,
Ken Martin's
yeah,
son.
yeah, Kenyon Martin Jr. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like him. I like
he's
him a lot.
playing great.
They have
Yeah.
another that point guard who has a little like that
Kevin
thing
Porter
too.
Jr.
Good too.
So
He's good too.
here's the thing though, because there's talks inside that organization, not to go on a huge rabbit hole, but Kevin Porter Jr., there's actually talks of possibly either cutting him or trading him because of
I remember what happened the other night.
I mean, yeah, from what happened the other night, but also, I mean, listen, he's not having a good season. Like so he came into the league as a small forward. I'm not sure, like, if like his background as like far as like how he became a point guard. But
I do not know how he became the point guard. I do remember being a small forward though. Because did he throw soup on someone too with another organization?
Yeah, he threw soup on his assistant coach in Cleveland. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he came into the league as a small forward, and then they traded him to Houston, and Houston decided to change him to a point guard. And so they put him in the G League. And so for like the first half of the season last year, he actually played on their G League team and was learning how to play point guard.
He was killing it.
Yeah. It's like when like Terrell Pryor came into the NFL and was like, I'll be a wide receiver. And it's like, like position changes like that are kind of unheard of in the NBA, to be honest. So, for like, so coming in and having essentially to be, the quarterback of this team and to be like that guy with those responsibilities, I just don't know if he's that guy. I think Jalen Green with the ball in his hands could be pretty explosive, and he kind of struggles when he doesn't have the ball in his hands because he doesn't really do much else other than score or play make with the ball in his hands. So they're in a weird situation, but
they are.
Yeah. But to your point, great young core, and Rafael Stone, he was cooked for the James Harden trade. He's looking pretty good right now. I think Houston will be perfectly fine.
Yes. Yep. And by the way, to like them, Houston, I guess, is a team like pretty competitive. I think actually they won last night against, I think, the Wizards, and the Wizards are damn good this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Wizards are like man, it was weird when they had the number one record in the league.
That was weird.
And then, and now that's very much come back down to reality. But
I mean, and I'm a LeBron stan, by the way, too. So I was like even more pissed off about that because, the Kuzma thing, and obviously Russ is, come on, who in the fuck, what were they fucking sipping on, smoking on when they made that trade, man? That shit was fucking wild to me.
So I was driving down to Detroit for the Pistons draft party that they had. I went to the LCA for that. And I was my friend was on his phone. He was like, Russell Westbrook just got traded to the Lakers. And we were at McDonald's. And I remember like saying right next to the intercom, just looking at my friend, that is the most dog shit trade I've ever heard in my entire life.
It was fucking
like, listen,
makes no sense.
Not to insult Russell Westbrook. It's just an inherently bad fit. It is a ceremoniously Lakers move where they just trade for a flashy star towards the end of his career just to see if you can recreate Showtime. And you're never
ceremonial LeBron move, man. Yep. Like as much as I love him, and like again, I'm a fan of LeBron. Like he just not the greatest GM. I just wish he'd stop trying to do that part of it. Like, just let these guys do what they do. Because like what the fuck, bro? What were you thinking? Like I am not a fucking basketball savant. I am 5'7". You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not you. I haven't played the game as long as I've been alive. Like how did he think that was going to work? And what fucking way was that going to work?
So the only possible explanation is that
everything's uncharacteristic if for it to work. But I'm sorry. I'm just
no, you're good. I'm just saying I think the old how it was being justified was that it's like an older version of the big three in Miami, where Russell Westbrook is kind of similar to that Dwayne Wade type of play style in the sense that he does attack the rim ferociously. He can score, not a great shooter, but Dwayne Wade is a better shooter. Let's put that out there. But I think, Anthony Davis is not nearly as selfless of a player as Chris Bosh. And I'm not saying that as a criticism. That's just the truth. That's just
Chris Bosh, amazing teammate.
Yeah. Not only that, but also like the importance of that third guy in the big three is that they're the one that has to sacrifice the most, and they're the one that has to change their game to how this team needs to play in order to be successful. And listen, this team needs Anthony Davis to be a center in order for this team to be successful. And he keeps saying, I'll play the 5. I'm going to play the 5. And then he started 3 games this year at the 5 and played at power forward for the rest of them. And then now he's shooting terribly, and like he won't attack the rim, and it's like
he can't stay healthy. And here's the thing too, like that Miami team, and I'm gonna say it, this I don't think it's that bad of a hot take, but like also not a great fit. Like let's not forget 2013 LeBron James, in my lifetime, hands down the greatest basketball player I've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? Miami Heat, LeBron James, and like he kind of overcame that non-fit because, like you said, like I think LeBron and even guys like Simmons, their best suit with shooters around them. Yeah. Chris Bosh, he could spread the floor like that again, for you. AD could do that for you. Dwayne Wade, Russ, they're not. You know what I'm saying? And we need LeBron to be as great as he was to overcome that in Miami. Because let's not get it twisted. It came down to it. They lost to one of the Dallas Mavericks, and they had a close one with the Spurs. They got lucky. Ray Allen saved his ass on that one. Yeah. Yeah. And then the next year following, the Heatles were there. Everyone was healthy, and they got their asses stomped out by the Spurs.
Yeah, and they got their 2. They got their one on the Thunder, one on the Spurs, and they got to count their blessings from there because the one thing you can say about LeBron is even though he's made it to the finals a ton, he just hasn't been able to close the deal as consistently as you would hope for. But I mean, listen, the fact
and he's facing like generational talent in these finals sometimes too. Like 100%. Dirk, severely underrated in the all-time list. Steph and those guys too, all-time greats. And I'm sorry for cutting you off, but
no, dude, you're good. Like, listen, like one of the things you can say about Jordan that you can't say about LeBron is that Jordan had a generationally great front office in the sense of they accumulated amazing talent. He was there his entire career. They had Phil Jackson in-house. They had a elite scheme, elite culture in the sense of that time. And LeBron has never had an historically great coach. He's had his best coaches have been, Eric Spoelstra, but he's been a better coach after the Heatles, if anything. He got better by being their coach and ultimately became the coach he is now. I think, like obviously Frank Vogel, there's people calling for his job, and even when he was,
by the way, I thought he was a good coach too. I thought Frank Vogel was a good coach just from like the battles he put up against LeBron with the Pacers.
Yeah. He is a good coach. It's just, I think, I listen, the Lakers organization, I still don't think they're a great organization at the moment, as far as who they have in ownership. Like, Jeannie Buss is not as great as the late Jerry Buss. You know what I'm saying? That's just, that's just...
and I think part of that too with Frank Vogel, and I don't know, maybe he's not the coach we either thought he was, or how the hell are you gonna like? I think at that level, it's also about managing egos and talent a little bit. And like you have freaking LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, like that's not an easy. Those aren't easy scenarios to like manage.
Dwight Howard, yes, he had Rondo in there. Like that is just that is a hard locker room to get to buy into your scheme and what you're doing. And to their credit, they're
and to have authority over too. Like
yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why Jason Kidd, wasn't able to, because maybe Jason Kidd was a little too rough around the edges. And, Lord knows, like, NBA, the coach is gone before the star players are.
Oh, heck yeah. 100%. And, we'll see what Jason Kidd does in Dallas. But, that's a whole situation. Did you see Dirk Nowitzki's statue, by the way?
No, but I'm going to Google that right now. Actually, I'm so happy Dirk got a statue,
dude.
Is it bad though?
It's so bad. I will say that it looks like it has a overtly suggestive subject matter at the top. No, worse.
Oh, that's what they were talking about last night.
Look at the shooting.
The anal beads.
Yep. I was just the anal beads. There it is. Yep. It's one of those things. Yep, just look up the statue. It's terrible. It is absolutely terrible. I love the rest of it's great. If it only had the ball at the bottom that was in his hands,
It
elite
looks
statue.
small. Where is this thing?
That's
Yeah,
so
yeah. Just
that's
leave the
not
ball in his
so
hands,
that's not the actual statue. That's a rendering of what the statue will look like.
so they can save this.
They can save this. They have to.
I'm gonna tweet at Mark Cuban like, please don't
Yeah.
put anal beads on Dirk Nowitzki's fucking head.
Yeah, look for Mark Cuban, for those reasons, I'm out. Like, absolutely not. Those cannot be a thing. 100%.
Oh my god, this is
Isn't that dumbfounding?
This is my first time seeing this.
This is actually pretty on par with shit we discover on the Pizza Palace. So this feels like a normal episode. Isn't that just baffling?
God. What?
Yeah. So yeah, that's
Okay.
just poor Dirk, man. Speaking of greatness, though, I do see the Big Baller Brand hat on your head, and I do want to talk a little bit about that, because listen, man,
I'm listening.
People could bash LeVar Ball all they want, but LaMelo is a star. Lonzo is great. LiAngelo is trying to make a career, and obviously he had the struggles, but he's doing just fine for himself. He's got 3 boys that at one point have all been in the league, and 2 of them are elite point guards and are great at their craft. So I want to ask, first of all, how much was that expensive? Because that had to have been expensive.
I mean, I don't buy hats too often. I probably should, because I'm bald, but I think I want to say it's like $30, so not too bad.
That's
I
not
feel like
terrible.
most hats
That's not
around there.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah. And then also, who's your favorite Ball brother? What's are you a big fan of the Ball brothers, or are you just more of a fan of the family?
I was a fan of Lonzo, just because I'm not gonna say fan. Actually, I was rooting for Lonzo. Just because of like the unnecessary hate he received because of his father.
Yep.
I was like, you guys are like directing this in the wrong manner. Like this, like that's not fair. Yeah, I'm saying, like, he's like, I mean, yeah, he like rapped and had like a thing with his boy and Kuzma, which, by the way, I still don't know if that was real or not, but whatever. I don't know if that was real beef or not. Regardless, though, like Lonzo like isn't a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's really not. He's really quiet for the most part. Like, why is he getting the hate? Why is he a bust? Because you don't like his dad. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And LaMelo, fucking, he's fun to watch, man. I love him, but
he's insane, man.
If you ever if you did your homework before the podcast, Sean, and you watched mine, that LeVar's the intro for my show. I was trying to get him on for like a full episode.
Oh, that's
I couldn't
awesome,
get that.
Man.
However, I'll send it to you after. You can play it at the end of this one or whatever.
Oh, heck yeah.
Do you edit your podcast? What do you do?
Yeah, I do. I edit my podcast.
I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah. So in a normal episode, we actually, so it's with my best friend Robert. He'll come over. He's actually the normal host, and we'll sit in my living. If you did your homework easy, no, I'm just kidding. You don't have to do any homework on me. When you come in, like I have like a green screen that we do in the background that like has our logo, but I'll also like have for like visual references for like what we're talking about. So like just like have it like as professional as possible for like filming in a living room. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So not bad for having to film off an iPhone. That's pretty darn good to be able to film at 60 frames and have that look pretty professional. My roommate just lets me use his professional lighting kit he has. So shout out to him. We make it work.
Shouts out to him.
Yeah, we make it work.
That's what you gotta do, man. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So so right now, are you recording yourself on your iPhone and then you run it back and you put the iPhone footage in?
So right now, for my computer, for like this, like Zoom stuff, I just have a webcam that's like a 1080p webcam, and then just like my mic set up at my desk. But normally I'll record on my phone and then like use my green screen in the background and all that kind of stuff. I turn my room into a studio is essentially what I do whenever I film here. So
that's dope, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been fun. It's cool to learn about. And I'm the kind of guy that if I'm going to do something, I'm all in on it, and I'm going to try to make it look as professional, legit as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that I'm maybe too much of a stickler on that, but hey, you know what? We make it
Don't
work.
be, man.
We make it work. Speaking of making it work, there's a lot of UFC fighters that I've been love watching work on their craft and do stuff. And I know you're an MMA guy, so I was excited to get you on
Yes.
here to talk some MMA.
I love, I think honestly, probably my favorite sport. I have
It
to say,
is,
maybe taking over as my favorite sport.
yeah, the storylines are elite as far as like all
Yes.
of the talent that there has been. I think Francis Ngannou is the most exciting heavyweight champion I've seen in the
Oh
UFC
yeah.
ever, just from what he can do as a fighter. Like it's probably
Look
the
at
most
Mike Tyson.
yeah, exactly. He is Mike Tyson of the UFC, man. He is
Yeah.
his knockout power is unreal. Um we had a great champion for the longest time, and he just Stipe Miocic, he just absolutely knocks him out and makes his eyes roll the back of his head. He's one of the toughest guys we've ever seen in the UFC, and he bodied him the entire fight. When Francis Ngannou stuffed that takedown from Stipe, I think that's the most
Yeah.
terrifying thing a UFC fighter's ever seen, because that is the last guy. If he shows up like that to UFC 270, that's the most terrifying man in the world.
Oh, hands down. Like, yeah, they say that's what this, that's what
But don't keep your
traditionally
hands down.
title.
Seriously, put your hands up. Cover that
Yeah,
face. Jesus. Yeah.
man. Traditionally, they say, the heavyweight champion is the baddest man on the planet. And that was like in reference to boxing. But truly, the baddest man on the planet is the one who fights in a cage. And his name's Francis Ngannou. And
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, man. His opponent, Cyril Gane, definitely worthy challenger. He as well is something special at the heavyweight division where he almost moves like a middleweight. And
Mm-hmm.
you can't, it's not the old UFC where like most of these guys are on like PEDs and stuff like that. It's a true skill set that this guy possesses in Cyril
Yeah.
Gane. And he fought a dominant striker and Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis, who by the way beat Francis Ngannou, you know what I'm saying? And he completely dominated him. Now, there's this thing called MMA math, and it just doesn't always equate. When one guy beats one guy, doesn't mean he's going to beat the other guy.
Exactly.
But however, there's certain skill sets that just translate, and Cyril Gane's got that. But Ngannou has that he has the switch. He has the nuke button, if you will.
100%.
And he can close the show out, anytime he connects. So I'm here for it.
Yeah. 100%.
And by the way, if I may, if you don't mind, like plug the Speakeasy podcast. Well, actually,
Absolutely.
no, this isn't going to be a Speakeasy podcast. You might appreciate this. Is over at Woodward Sports, we have a new studio. It's called Studio B.
Yeah.
And me and our boy Spence, not many of the world know who Spence is yet, but he's a great personality. He produces our Woodward Bet show. Him and we're coming out with a podcast, and we call the Woodward Heavyweights podcast.
Heck yeah,
and,
baby.
Yes, sir. And in an inaugural episode, we will more than likely be bringing out the GOAT of MMA reporting, and it's Ariel Helwani. And it's gonna be me and the boy Spence.
Dude.
Ariel Helwani. Yes, sir. Woodward Heavyweights.
He's one of my heroes in this stuff, man.
He really is. He's one of mine too.
Dude, I love how he's gone full Helwani, by the way. Absolutely.
Yes.
Shout out to Helwani. We are Helwani stands here. So absolutely, that's incredible, man.
Hell yeah.
That would be I am definitely going to be tuning in, and you should too. So follow Easy on Twitter to make sure that you keep notified on that. Now, speaking of having crazy people showing up, the UFC has had some crazy fighters showing up in the cage. With Sean O'Malley being probably the most exciting prospect in fighting. You have Juliana Pena beating Amanda Nunes at 269 as well. You have just a litany of guys like Hazmat Chimaev at he was the COVID champion as far as all of the fights he did in Abu Dhabi, and just in general, probably the most scary, dominant looking fighter since Habib Nurmagomedov. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
yes, that's one of the beautiful things about the sport, man. Just we lose a Conor McGregor, right? And you think, hey, the sport may see a setback from that. No, this sport carries on. They're great. I'm sorry, UFC carries on. They're great at finding phenomenal talent, and they're great at selling it to you as well.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, they're also, they produce the craziest moments in sports, just as far as the things that happen on a consistent basis. There's always at least one thing from a UFC card that leaves you shocked or that blows your mind or that entertains you in something that you
Yes.
remember. I will say, it's been really interesting to see the Jake Paul, Dana White stuff. Listen, Jada, you could say what you will about Jake Paul. I don't personally even pay attention to his fights anymore, just because they're, listen, they're choreographed to go exactly how they're meant to go. It's literally by design.
Damn, you're one of those.
Well, no. I'm not saying they're fake. I'm just saying that Jake Paul's entire trick is being a good boxer, getting people that have little to no experience in the realm of boxing, who, yes, have credible resumes in other sports, but are incredibly different. And so Jake is therefore going to have it over, especially guys that are older, that are past their prime. Now, if he fought a guy
Wrestlers like Ben Askren.
Yeah. Now, if he fought a guy in his prime, say like if Jorge Masvidal got to put on some 10-ounce gloves and got to go out and box, now that would be a more interesting fight. That would be something I'd be more curious to see, because at the very least, Masvidal's in his prime, but Jake Paul hasn't fought anybody yet that can be taken seriously in that realm. I mean, listen, Tyron Woodley, we've just seen him get kicked the shit out of in his last few UFC fights. He is a shell of himself. Ben Askren, did you see that man shirtless? Because I wish I did.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't pay for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was.
Yeah.
And Nate Robinson, 5'9" Nate Robinson, really? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
No, for sure. And you're justified in feeling that way. Like, and here's like the punch in the gut though. Like, that's the sport of boxing. Like,
yep,
these guys build their records off of cans. We never see the best fight the best, and that's another reason why the UFC is probably the most entertaining form of combat sport you can watch in today's modern era. Like, it's just, you don't, back in the day, you can look to, like, I guess for boxing, I mean, I'm not the greatest. I'm not a boxing historian, right? But I probably bring up, the marvelous Marvin Hagler versus Detroit's own Tommy Hearns, like that type of stuff. We don't have that.
Yeah,
that doesn't exist in today's modern era. And who I preach, one of the guys I appreciate, like, more than anything, two of the guys I should say, is the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Like, they brought the first taste of that, and at least in my generation, for me, they were they brought the first taste of that. And
I remember Canelo versus Triple G, like that was a big one.
That was a big one too. And I respect those guys, man. Like, don't be fucking scared to lose. Like, let's find out who's the fucking best.
Yeah,
like
100%.
You're saying like, then they want to say, oh, you want to keep them undefeated because of money. Well, I'm not fucking paying money to watch this guy fight fucking Tuna Can Johnson. Like, I'm not. I don't give a fuck to see that. I want to see this guy actually face a challenge. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
well, it's even just like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, to your point, it's just about the business of the sport, like the business of boxing, like not to generalize, but it's the business of promoters. It's the business of what will sell and what will get pay-per-view buys. Whereas obviously the UFC is playing that same game, but their way of doing it is by putting up the fights of who are the best in the world and who's going to win when they're locked in a cage. And that's just the difference of how they operate.
Yes.
Is that the UFC is much more focused on their champions, on rising up the rankings. It's an actual league, whereas boxing is just
multiple promotions,
multiple promoters just doing whatever they want, and their belts mean whatever. Like,
exactly.
That's really it.
Yeah. And honestly, that's it. And like, to the, bringing it back to Jake Paul a little bit, like, fucking, of course he's gonna do that shit. Yeah. But at some point the consumer is catching on. Like you said, you are. I think especially after the last Tyron Woodley fight was god awful. That was not an enjoyable fight to watch at all. Right. Yes, it ended in a knockout, but like, hey, guess what? The knockout's the only part you care about, and that part hit social media for the free right after the fight. So it's gonna catch up to him. He's gonna have to either face another boxer or get better or call it a wrap, which I'm sure he doesn't have a problem doing. The kid's fucking loaded.
Yeah, I think he realizes that he's got to strike while the iron's hot, because truly this isn't going to last forever, because people, especially in this day and age, people aren't going to keep spending money on something that they eventually just get bored of. And there's so much traction each time he fights about how bad of an event it generally is, which Ariel Helwani's done really well. Showtime's done a great job as far as like the production side of it. They definitely put on a better show than Triller. However, it's just one of those things where, I mean, to your point, it's just like, okay, when is this going to be real? And that's just going to be the thing. But there's a lot of people in the UFC that that we don't have to question that. I want to know on your end. I mean, obviously, I know you've posted some selfies. You've been able to interview some guys UFC wise. You've been able to delve into that world more. Like, who has you excited as far as like UFC guys, whether they're champions now, whether they should be champions later, whether it's guys that are veterans, whether it's guys that are prospects. Like, what's got you excited to be an MMA fan right now?
Man, so for any like I guess possible casuals listening, guys to look out for if you see their name on a card. A guy like Sean Strickland, not really well known. I like him a lot. I guess the way to describe his style is this kid. I should say, I'm pretty sure he's older than me, but he fights like the Energizer Bunny, man. He just keeps it coming. Another exciting guy to watch that I love to watch is Israel Adesanya. I'm sure most people have heard of Anderson Silva, the Spider. He's similar fighting style to that. He's just doing some Matrix type shit in that cage, and it's always fun to watch. He's always bringing out the dramatics, the theatrics too. You know what I'm saying, with all the dancing moves and all the anime movements and stuff like that. When he was here, and some people may not find it entertaining, but as someone who once trained, I have the utmost respect for a guy like Habib Nurmagomedov to just completely dominate a man and leave him immobile and incapable of defending himself. It's fucking amazing. It's
literally
it's
just
wild.
Just suffocate them in every aspect of the game. Like it was just his utter dominance. Like people talk about his elite wrestling ability. It's his conditioning too, because he never stops.
Yeah, people don't say that enough. That's a great point by you, Sean.
Like I appreciate that. Like literally his whole strategy is it's having that elite conditioning.
Relentless, man.
Yeah, it's kind of similar like the Belichick effect in the NFL, where like their game plan is to just make you uncomfortable. And how you win is you have to do something amazing being uncomfortable. And the problem is that 99.9% of human beings simply can't, because they're not good enough and they can't. Like it's just not possible. And it's like, Connor was the greatest spectacle, the greatest entertainer, like, an incredible street fighter type of guy in the UFC. But technically, when it comes down to that mat skill and that just raw, like just living to be the champion and to never lose, like that.
Yeah,
that's just who Habib is. And he's the greatest of all time, and it's not close. You know what I'm saying? That's the scary thing, is like I do wish we could have seen that mega fight that he wanted with George St. Pierre. That would have been incredible.
Would have been a fucking banger. Yeah.
But I just don't think George St. Pierre wanted that fight. Truly, if he wanted that fight would have happened. I firmly believe.
Yeah, he would have came and got that fight, and the UFC would have been more than willing. I mean, there was some gripe about him like winning the middleweight championship and not returning, but like the UFC and Dana damn well know like there's money in that one. And also, again, George too. Like I don't know, man. He's also a little bit past his prime, which people would have used that as an excuse, which I would have hated. But George fought in a different era. I mean, much like NBA and NFL now, like the athletes we see today are leaps and bounds more explosive, stronger, faster than the guys back then. And that's the same case with MMA. MMA is rapidly growing, and the guys from back in the day would not have been able to keep up with Habib. The only way you stop Habib is you catch him. You know what I'm saying? Which that's the other beautiful thing about fighting. It can fucking happen. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how fucking sweet you are. If someone hits you on the right spot, you're going to sleep.
Yeah, 100%. And one small thing can change the course of a fight and the course of your career, a course of your life, even. Like, like with
Cody Garbrandt going through that now.
Yeah, 100%. Any guy who gets injured, any guy who that moment can just change everything about your life. It changes how you can perceive yourself, what you think of yourself. It's crazy. Like
saw a tweet.
Oh, dude, I saw your tweet. I was like, yeah, Mark. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir, man. Mark Cuban.
For the sake of Dirk, I had to do it, man. Like, please don't fucking let that happen. Man.
It's so bad, dude. It is so bad. Oh my goodness. Jesus. But yeah. Oh my gosh. Fucking sad.
So sorry for throwing you off.
No, dude, you're fine. Also, we're down by 17 to the Grizzlies right now, so it's all good. Go Pistons, but that's fine. But anyway, and I think Hazmat Chimaev is a lot. I feel like I keep saying his name wrong, and I need to look it
You're
up.
good. You're good. You got it. Hazmat Shemaev. You got it. That's how you say it.
Hazmat Shemaev. Yeah, he is just he's similar in that way, and I'm pretty sure, isn't he? Is he a part of their gym or no?
No, but he's Chechen. So Chechen.
Okay, he is Chechen. That's right.
Chechnya is like close relation to Dagestan, which is where Habib's from.
Okay.
The scary thing about Hazmat is he actually trains originally before moving to Vegas now, was training at a Dutch kickboxing gym. So he had the wrestling base from Chechnya and Russia and Dagestan, and then he brought that to a fucking Dutch kickboxing, which is some of the greatest kickboxing in the world. Actually, probably is the best. Thai strikers are probably up there too, but yeah, he's a scary fucking human being, and that's probably the name I left off the list. I give you Sean Strickland, Israel, Hazmat Shemaev. Now he hasn't fought a top ranked guy. He's going to soon because every other professional they put in a cage with him, he's absolutely fucking mauled.
Yeah,
he destroyed 2 professional fighters in an 8-day fucking difference or 11-day difference, however long it was.
Mm-hmm. He also the reason why we haven't seen him is because he actually got COVID bad. Like he actually has had a really difficult
almost retired.
Yeah. He literally said he felt like a shell of himself for a while. Like he wasn't even able to train. Like he had a hard time breathing. It kicked his ass, man. And that's
it did.
It can happen to anybody, man. Shit, stuff's unreal. But no, anyway, absolutely. And always I'm excited to see what the Diaz brothers do at any point. Listen, I want if I could get another Jorge Nate Diaz BMF belt, let's do it for real this time. No stoppages. Get that rematch. Bring The Rock back out. Give him his redemption moment.
See, for me, Jorge fucking beat the shit out of that man.
He did.
He as much as he has a huge following, he's not great. Let's keep it a buck, man. I want to see Nate fight. I want it to be another guy similar to him. That's I don't know. I don't want to see him in a league outside of his anymore. It's just not fun for me.
Yeah. He's it's just the fact that the Diaz brothers, they just have the will to fight. You know what I mean? They love to fight.
Yeah, they do.
But at the end of the day, that spirit can always be there. But what does go away is your youth and your athletic ability, and also
brain cells.
Brain. Yes. Speaking of that, Antonio Brown. No, I'm just kidding. But but yeah, man, it's definitely one of those things where, to your point, it's okay, let's just do this for fun now. We don't want to see you get too hurt too bad. But I mean, I would still take another Jorge fight. He did get his crap kicked in, but I want to see if he can back it up and actually put up something.
You're a sick man.
Because
you're a sick human being.
Well, towards the end of the fight, though, it was getting more competitive. It was. That's all I'm saying. It objectively got more competitive. Jorge was toying with him. He definitely eased off, but Jorge would kick the crap out of him. I 100% know.
Yeah. Give me Jorge versus Conor. Give me that.
Okay. Yes. That's the mega fight I think we'd all want to see. That would be. Do you think Jake Paul's ever going to fight Conor, by the way? Do you think that's ever actually going to happen? I don't think Conor would do it, but
you know what?
The money's big enough, he could.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is Conor is not Tyron Woodley in the striking realm. Conor can fucking box.
Yep.
You obviously saw that against Floyd Mayweather. He's no fucking chump. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Jake would enjoy fighting Conor. And Jake has power, and again, that's the beautiful thing about fighting. It just takes one hit, but he's not nearly as evasive as an actual professional boxer. He is bigger than Conor, so there's that. But look, man, that fight actually might happen. But the Conor's under contract with Dana White, actually. So
for sure, yeah,
I'm gonna scratch that. That will never happen.
Yeah,
Dana fucking hates Jake Paul.
Yeah, Dana hates him. But also, I think the other thing too, I firmly believe if Jake Paul actually got on the microphone against Conor McGregor, he would get destroyed.
Oh yeah, dude. Jake's not. He destroys himself on accident all the time.
He is not a good enough talker to go against Conor and hold his own. He is a terrible talker when it comes to that. His press conferences, I love watching because of how terrible they are. They're just absolutely insanely bad. And
they're absolutely cringe. He does all the sus stuff too.
Oh, dude, the Tyron Woodley, Jake Paul sit down interview with Ariel Helwani was one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen in my entire life. And that's hands down. My goodness.
Oh yeah. That's especially the most recent one. He's like gifting him a Rolex. It's like you guys are about to like try to disconnect your fucking lights. I don't even like, I don't know. It was a weird thing to do,
Oh my
but
gosh,
whatever.
100%. Well,
But we're
I
talking about it, so
yeah, well,
that's his
yeah,
goal.
hey, yeah, that's the thing. Jake Paul could say anything he wants. He's got us talking about it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Well, I do want to close on a good note because I think, listen, in Detroit sports, I think just in sports in general, I think we can always focus on the negative and focus on when things are rough. Obviously, we're the one city that has every team rebuilding. But in easy, what are you looking forward to most in the year 2022 sports wise? Like what's got you excited coming up? Whether it's as a Detroit sports fan, whether it's anything, like what's got you excited? What are you looking forward to this year?
Um.
I know it's a big question.
No, it is. It is. It is. I'm just trying to. I mean, I guess because we suck everywhere, like you said, we're all rebuilds. Probably the drafts. I'm looking forward to. I'm trying right now in my head decide am I more excited for the Detroit Pistons draft or the Lions draft, but
Right.
I think I'm gonna have to say Pistons just because the little bit of tape that I watched on the guys. The NFL draft is a little bit different because you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know who's for sure gonna
Right.
be taken, and you don't know if the picks gonna be traded. The NBA draft, you know your top three picks who are gonna be for sure, and the top three picks are fucking studs.
The
At
NFL
least
draft is
if
so
not
much more
studs, they fit our
stressful, man.
system. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. And but it makes it fun, you know what I'm saying? Because like one of the things about being sports fans, like you like those I told you moments, you know what I'm saying? And
Uh-huh.
the NFL draft obviously provides that for you.
Oh yeah. Listen, if we all were able to be GMs off hindsight, we'd be elite.
Oh
That's all I'm
fuck yeah.
that's all
Fuck
I'm
yeah.
saying. Yeah.
You know, I would have missed on one pick. I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, yeah, normally I think I have a pretty good sense of who's going to be good, who's going to be like who's not going to be good, and draft.
Hmm.
We all like to think we do, right? But
Yeah.
I think to your point, I think Detroit is in a situation like the Pistons specifically compared to I think the Pistons have it a lot easier going into the NBA draft than the Lions do because to your point, the NBA draft has another elite pool of players to draft from, and Detroit's gonna have another chance to pick it towards the top, whether it's first, whether it's in the top
Exactly.
five. Like they're just gonna have a well of talent to pick from. And whereas Detroit, whereas the Lions, they're really just gonna have to create their own luck, and they're gonna have to really do a lot of because listen, the NFL draft is much more. It's much less about who you get at the top. It's much more how you do throughout because you need to
Yes.
execute because if it is shown you can get gems in those deeper rounds, and the
Yeah.
difference between good teams and great is the ones that do go through the process and do have that well of talent throughout because you need 52 good men on your roster to win a Super Bowl, and that has been shown time and time again,
Yeah.
and you need good guys in your practice squad too. So whereas the Pistons, you just need those top level guys. You just need
Hmm.
talent, and that's what the
Yep.
NBA is about. So,
And
Detroit,
we're quarter of the way there too with Cade and Sadiq. If Sadiq
yeah,
can continue on how he did before last night, you know what I'm saying? We're there.
but he needs to be traded though, right? Easy.
No. Do not trade Sadiq. Don't trade any second year player unless it's
I
for a
know,
plethora of picks and grapes and, and wines,
dude.
gold.
Yeah, exactly, man. Unless
Other
unless
than
we're
that, you
getting the
sit on that.
kitchen, unless we're getting everything but the kitchen sink in return, I think, yeah,
Yeah.
to your point, let's just let him
You
develop. Let's see what we got.
you said something earlier. I kind of just want to ask you. I guess I'll throw this at you. Like
Yeah,
this is would
dude,
you
anything.
trade Killian for Kevin Porter Jr.
Would I trade Killian for Kevin Porter Jr.?
in a second? Yeah, I'll throw a
I
second in there since he is a mental case.
I would not do that. Now, I will say this. I am probably the one Pistons fan, or not the one, but like I think I'm coming to acceptance that I think we should have drafted Tyrese Halliburton, and I firmly believe that.
Oh yeah, you
Um,
could have said that last year.
I mean, but like, listen, you can go down the road of, oh, well, but we drafted Cade. And could we have done that if we drafted Tyrese Halliburton? I think we could have. I think we still would have been the same record. I just think we would have had a guy at the point guard that can create his offense a little bit more and has a little bit of a higher ceiling. But having said that, I still like what Killian is as a prospect from a defensive perspective. The one thing is that he is probably the most expendable prospect we have, from the sense that you want Cade Cunningham with the ball in his hands. You just do. He is at his best when he is playmaking, and unless Killian can do something at a high enough level to complement that, or to be a good fit next to him, then we need someone that Cade can unlock their game with his playmaking. He needs someone like a more athletic, rim runner, or someone that can score the ball. He needs someone like that next to him rather than Killian, where yes, Killian is a great defensive backcourt member, but like on the offensive end, it can just occasionally turn into 4-on-5 basketball. That's not good enough. You know what I mean?
I'm looking at Halliburton's number 2, shooting 43% from 3 this year.
Yeah, man.
God damn, that sucks. That sucks to look at.
Well, I mean,
like that's a guy, Cade could just pop the ball off to in a corner and it's just wet.
Well, and listen, you don't want to make any early things. It is still very early to make that kind of judgment. I think
with a guy like Halliburton, he's just better at this point. I mean, I don't think Killian will suppress what he is, and it is what it is at this point.
And that's not to say that my statement is going to end up to be right. It's just as of right now, if we're basing off what we have today, Cleveland has the better point guard than we do, and they drafted him several spots later, and that's okay, because here's the other thing. Troy Weaver hit on those other 2 picks, and he hit on the second round pick and Saban Lee as well. So, there's a lot of good to look at, and we got Cade Cunningham. So at the end of the day, I can take good with the bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. Well, speaking of taking the good, easy, man, this was fun, man. Thank you so much for hopping on.
I did. I haven't done this in a long time, man. So I do appreciate the invite, and I feel pretty fucking special, man, for just being invited on your podcast. And it started right from the intro, man. I had a really great time, and honestly, you got big things coming your way. I truly believe, man. Just don't fucking stop. And if you do, I'm gonna drive that castle. I'm gonna beat your ass. You know what I'm saying?
Well, dude, I just appreciate you, man. I just appreciate your kind words and your support, but also just it's just a pleasure to meet you, because not only just as someone on the internet, but just as a guy. Like, I just think you're a cool dude, and I love what you're doing, and I'm just excited to keep talking sports with you, man. I have a feeling we got a friendship brewing here, and hey, that's what we love to brew here on the Pizza Palace. Again, follow my guy over on Woodward Sports. Please show him some love on Twitter at Speak Easy Sports, and I believe you have the underscore at the end as well. I'm not forgetting about that.
Some asshole has Speak Easy Sports already.
Dude, so my Twitter is at Sean Halfcourt. There's my little plug right there. But there's someone that has at From Halfcourt, and I can't have it, and it pisses me off because they don't tweet, and there's no followers. It's a spam account.
That's a thing.
Yeah. Like, just some people just want to watch the world burn, bro. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, it has 2 followers, and it's done one thing in its time, and it's like the thing about getting off 70% off Sony memory cards. And I'm like, that. Yeah, I could spend too much talking about that. But listen, I just want to thank you guys. I just want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time over here at the Pizza Palace. But catch you next time from Half Court.